When Game of Thrones opened with its very first episode in 2011, nobody expected that one of television's most disturbing and complex relationships would define the entire series. We're talking about Jaime and Cersei Lannister, twin siblings whose forbidden love story would spark wars, destroy kingdoms, and end with them buried under the rubble of their own ambitions. This is not your typical romance, this is incest, obsession, manipulation, and destruction wrapped in golden hair and designer armor. Before we dive into this twisted tale, if you love deep dives into Game of Thrones lore and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next on this channel. Let's start from the beginning, because you can't understand how messed up this relationship became without knowing where it all started. The beginning of something wrong. Cersei and Jaime Lannister were born as twins to Lord Tywin Lannister and his wife Joanna at Casterly Rock. Cersei came into the world first, making Jaime technically her younger brother by mere seconds. From the moment they could understand the world around them, these two were inseparable. But their bond went way beyond normal sibling affection. In the books, George R.R. Martin reveals something truly disturbing. As children, Cersei and Jaime would actually swap places and pretend to be each other. They looked so identical that even their own father Tywin couldn't tell them apart. Think about that for a second. These twins were so deeply connected that they literally tried to become the same person. That's not cute. That's the foundation of codependency. According to the books, they shared their first kiss when they were around 11 years old during a tournament. While other kids were playing with wooden swords and chasing chickens, these two were already crossing lines that should never be crossed. But here's where it gets even darker. Cersei grew up believing she would marry Prince Rhaegar Targaryen, the Crown Prince. Her father Tywin had promised her this match when she was 6 or 7 years old. She drew pictures of herself and Rhaegar riding dragons together. She dreamed of being queen, but when that didn't happen, she became bitter, angry, and more possessive of the one person who had always been hers. Jaime. When they were 15 years old, their relationship took a full turn into forbidden territory. Cersei disguised herself as a serving girl and met Jaime at an old inn. She told him their father was planning to marry him off to Lisa Tully. Then she seduced him and convinced him to join the King's Guard, which would require him to never marry and stay celibate. This way, he would always be near her in King's Landing. Let me be clear about what happened here. Cersei literally destroyed Jaime's future as heir to Casterly Rock, manipulated him into giving up his birthright, and trapped him in a position where he could never have a normal life or family, all so she could keep him close to her. That's not love, that's possession. And Jaime? He went along with it. He gave up everything. In his own thoughts throughout the books, Jaime reveals that Cersei was absolutely everything to him. He thought about her constantly during his captivity and his journey back to King's Landing. This wasn't a balanced relationship. This was an obsession that would consume both of them. Fast forward to the beginning of Game of Thrones. Cersei is now married to King Robert Baratheon, but all three of her children, Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen, are actually Jaime's. The entire kingdom believes these are Robert's legitimate heirs, but they're the product of years of incestuous adultery. When Lord Eddard Stark confronts Cersei about this secret, she doesn't even try to deny it. Instead, she says something chilling. She tells Ned that she and Jaime belong together, always. There's no shame, no remorse. In her mind, this isn't wrong. This is destiny. She actually explains that she loved Robert at first, but on their wedding night, he whispered the name Lyanna, his true love who had died. That moment killed any chance of their marriage working. So Cersei turned back to the only person she felt truly saw her, her twin brother. But here's where this toxic love story becomes everyone else's nightmare. During King Robert's visit to Winterfell, young Bran Stark goes climbing, which he loves to do. He climbs up to an abandoned tower and accidentally sees Cersei and Jaime having sex. When Cersei realizes they've been spotted, Jaime grabs the 10-year-old boy and pushes him out the window, trying to kill him to keep their secret safe. As Jaime pushes Bran, he says something that becomes one of the most haunting lines in the entire series. "The things I do for love." He attempted to murder a child, a 10-year-old innocent boy, and he framed it as an act of love. That's how twisted this relationship had become. Jaime's love for Cersei made him capable of unthinkable evil. Bran survived the fall but was left paralyzed from the waist down with no memory of what he saw. An assassin even tried to finish the job while Bran was in a coma, though Catelyn Stark and Bran's direwolf stopped the killer. This attempt on a child's life, this secret that Cersei and Jaime desperately tried to protect, would spark the War of the Five Kings. Thousands would die because these two couldn't keep their hands off each other. When war broke out, Jaime joined his father's forces against the Starks. During the Battle of the Whispering Wood, Robb Stark captured Jaime, and he spent years as a prisoner, separated from Cersei for the first time in their adult lives. And what did Cersei do during this separation? She took a new lover, her young cousin Lancel Lannister. The same Lancel who had been King Robert's squire and who gave Robert the wine that got him drunk enough to be killed by a boar. When Jaime eventually found out about this betrayal, it shattered something inside him. Jaime had believed they were in a committed relationship. He thought Cersei was being as faithful to him as she could be, given that she was married to Robert. He had deluded himself about who she really was. But here's what makes their dynamic so toxic. While Jaime was faithful to Cersei in his heart and mind for 20 years, risking everything for her, Cersei was sleeping with other men whenever it suited her purposes. Tyrion later reveals to Jaime that Cersei had also been sleeping with Osmond Kettleblack and possibly others. The relationship was never equal. Jaime worshipped Cersei. Cersei loved power more than she loved anyone, even Jaime. During his captivity, Jaime goes through real character development. He's freed by Catelyn Stark and sent with Brienne of Tarth to be exchanged for Sansa and Arya. On this journey, he opens up to Brienne about why he killed the Mad King Aerys. For the first time, we see the man behind the arrogance. He saved King's Landing from wildfire, he broke his oath to save 500,000 people, and he's been called Kingslayer, a title of shame, ever since. His time with Brienne shows us what Jaime could be without Cersei's influence. He becomes more honorable, more thoughtful, more human. Brienne represents everything good that Jaime could embrace, but Cersei's hold on him runs deeper than any personal growth. When Jaime finally returns to King's Landing and reunites with Cersei, things are never the same. He starts to see cracks in their relationship immediately. He realizes that Cersei has never come to him. She always waits for him to come to her. She gives, but he must always ask. These are the thoughts of a man whose worldview has been fundamentally altered by his experiences. He spent 20 years in this relationship thinking it was mutual, thinking it was real love. Now he's starting to see it was always about Cersei's needs, Cersei's desires, Cersei's control. Their son Joffrey gets poisoned at his own wedding. Their daughter Myrcella is killed in Dorne. Their youngest son Tommen throws himself out a window after Cersei blows up the Baelor with wildfire, killing hundreds including Tommen's wife Margaery. All three of their children die, just as the witch Maggie the Frog had prophesied when Cersei was young. With each death, Cersei becomes harder, colder, more ruthless. But does she turn to Jaime for comfort? Not really. The books make it clear that Cersei loved her children above all else, even above Jaime. He was always second place to her own ambitions and her kids. And Jaime begins to realize this. In the books, the breaking point is crystal clear. When Cersei is arrested by the Faith Militant and writes to Jaime begging for help, saying she loves him and needs him more than ever, he receives the letter, reads it, and tells the maester to burn it. He doesn't respond, he leaves her to face her fate alone. This is Jaime finally choosing to walk away from decades of toxicity. The relationship is over in his mind. But the show takes a different route. In the show's final season, Jaime does something that confused and angered millions of fans. After fighting for the living at Winterfell, after knighting Brienne and even sleeping with her, Jaime suddenly abandons everything and rides back to Cersei. He tells Tyrion in an earlier episode that Cersei never fooled him. He always knew exactly what she was, and he loved her anyway. Even Nikolai Coster-Waldau, the actor who played Jaime, admitted he was confused by this choice. He said trying to connect the dots between the scenes was complicated because of how quickly things happened in the final season. Years of character development seemed to evaporate overnight. When Daenerys attacks King's Landing with her dragon, Jaime fights his way through the chaos to reach Cersei. He finds her in the Red Keep, terrified and pregnant. He tries to lead her to safety through secret passages to reach a boat Tyrion had arranged, but every exit is blocked by rubble from Daenerys' destruction. In their final moments together, as the Red Keep collapses around them, Jaime takes Cersei's face in his hands and says, "Nothing else matters, only us." Then the ceiling caves in and buries them alive. They die together, wrapped in each other's arms, exactly as they came into the world, as twins, as lovers, as victims of their own toxic bond. The showrunners explained that Jaime and Cersei came into the world together, so it was only fitting they leave it together. Cersei had even said in season 1 that they shared a womb and belonged together. Their fates were always intertwined, for better or worse. In this case, definitely for worse. Let's break down exactly why this relationship was one of the most toxic in television history. First, it was built on a foundation of obsession and codependency from childhood. Their relationship had all the hallmarks of codependency, where one or both people love the other to such a degree that they exclude their own needs and desires. Risk factors include controlling parents, neglect, and narcissistic parenting, all of which Tywin Lannister provided in spades. Second, it was wildly imbalanced. Jaime gave up everything for Cersei, his inheritance, his honor, his future, his moral compass. He attempted to murder a child for her. He stayed faithful to her for 2 decades while she was married to another man. Meanwhile, Cersei used Jaime when it suited her but never put him first. Her children came first, her power came first, her survival came first. Jaime was a tool she kept close because he was useful and because he would do anything for her. Third, the relationship made both of them worse people. Their children, particularly Joffrey, showed signs of mental instability that some characters in the show attributed to their incestuous bloodline. Joffrey was a sadistic sociopath who enjoyed torturing people. Tommen was weak and easily manipulated. These kids were the product of generations of Lannister dysfunction topped off with twin incest. Fourth, their love story had massive casualties. Jaime pushing Bran out the window did much to sow division and animosity between the North and King's Landing, contributing to the endless war that followed. Thousands died in the War of the Five Kings, which started in part because of their secret. The Red Wedding happened, the Purple Wedding happened, entire families were wiped out. And in the end, when Cersei blew up the Baelor and caused Tommen's death, and when Daenerys burned King's Landing partly because of Cersei's refusal to surrender, hundreds of thousands of innocent people paid the price for this toxic relationship. Fifth, neither of them could escape it. No matter how much honor Jaime gained, no matter how much character development he went through, when Cersei was in danger, he abandoned everything to be with her. The things we do for love defined his entire arc from beginning to end. And Cersei, despite all her scheming and power plays, ended up vulnerable and terrified, dying in the arms of the brother she could never truly let go of. In the published books so far, Jaime's storyline takes him away from Cersei and keeps him away. He refuses her plea for help and remains in the Riverlands, taking his Kingsguard duty seriously and keeping the realm's peace. George R.R. Martin seems to be taking Jaime in a direction where he genuinely breaks free from Cersei's influence. There's also the famous prophecy about Cersei's death that the show left out. The prophecy says, "When your tears have drowned you, the Valonqar shall wrap his hands about your pale white throat and choke the life from you." Valonqar means little brother in High Valyrian. Cersei always assumed this meant Tyrion would kill her, but many fans theorized it would be Jaime, since he was born seconds after Cersei, technically making him her little brother too. The show didn't use this prophecy at all. Instead, they gave Jaime and Cersei a bittersweet, almost romantic ending. Some fans found it poetic, others found it infuriating. Many felt like it romanticized a deeply toxic, harmful relationship and let both characters off too easy. Love them or hate them, you can't deny that Jaime and Cersei Lannister created one of the most complex, disturbing, and memorable relationships in television history. They showed us that love and toxicity aren't opposites. Sometimes they coexist. Sometimes they feed each other. Sometimes the person you love most is also the person who destroys you. Their relationship asked uncomfortable questions. Can love excuse terrible actions? Can someone who does monstrous things for love still be considered honorable? Is it possible to love someone and still be completely wrong for them? The answer to all of these questions, based on Jaime and Cersei's story, seems to be yes. And that's deeply unsettling. George R.R. Martin himself said that the moment Jaime pushed Bran was what hooked millions of readers. It made them realize this wasn't the same story they'd read a million times before. And that's ultimately what Jaime and Cersei's relationship represented. It was shocking, it was taboo, it was morally complex, and it forced us to confront uncomfortable truths about love, loyalty, and the lengths people will go for those they care about. Their story reminds us that not all love stories should have happy endings. Sometimes love is poison. Sometimes the most passionate connections are the most destructive. And sometimes, the greatest tragedy isn't dying apart, but being so intertwined with another person that you can't escape them, even when you know they're bad for you. Jaime and Cersei Lannister came into the world together as twins, lived their lives in a forbidden relationship that destroyed countless others, and left the world together under tons of stone and regret. If that's not the definition of toxic love, I don't know what is. What do you think about Jaime and Cersei's relationship? Did they deserve their ending, or should the show have taken them in a different direction? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Game of Thrones, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. We've got so much more Game of Thrones content coming your way. including breakdowns of other controversial relationships, hidden details you missed, and theories about what George R.R. Martin might do differently in the books. Until next time, remember that in the Game of Thrones, even love can kill you.